How's it going, everybody? Mike back at you with another edition of 5 Minute Gaming, and today I have a slideshow for you. A slideshow of photos from South America with my friend Lara. Now, in case you don't know who that is Lara Croft, and this is from my gaming experience on Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, I have played all the Tomb Raider games, and they rank as some of my favorite games of all time. Why? It just speaks to my inner exploration, my love of uncovering secrets. I think it all started with Indiana Jones and me loving those movies as a kid. I have been playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider late last fall into the Christmas season, and my friend Shane Monroe and I share another way we tend to game is if a game is really good, I really don't want to finish it. I don't want it to end. And so, truth be told, I have not finished this game. I am really close. I know that. I don't want it to end, so I stopped. And at some point I might wrap it up, but I pretty much experienced most of the game. I just don't know how the story ends. Now, all the pictures I'm going to show you here, none of them are spoilers at all. So you don't have to worry about anything being revealed that you wouldn't want to know. This is really just a lot of pretty pictures. Most of the imagery you're going to see, if anything, it's going to make you want to play the game. And that's what I'm hoping. So with that, I prepared a slideshow for you. These are screen images from the game entirely. I took them all in 4K HDR. I processed them through Photoshop and did a little bit of extra color correction, and they are 100% captured by me during my gameplay. And I'm going to start by saying, right there, Lara exploring underground discovers a skeleton with a note. And that, to me, is what speaks volumes in gaming. What is in that note? What mysteries is it revealing? A quest I can take, something to discover. That's what I love about exploration in games like these. Now, that's a section where you play as young Lara at her father's mansion, and there's a puzzle that you have to solve in the mansion. Tomb Raider is definitely a combination of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat. I like them all. I definitely prefer the exploration and puzzle solving. Other great games that follow that trend are definitely the Uncharted series if you're looking for something else to play. Well, there's Lara. That's an image I took underground, and I tried to snap that one during an explosion where she blew up entrance to another section of a level. And there's a level with a lot of fire and lava, some hieroglyphs. She does a lot of reading and deciphering of ancient text. And I'll call your attention to, in this picture, this is called depth of field, and this is where I have Lara in the foreground, but she's soft and out of focus. And that's a setting I can do in the game, which is what makes things very photoreal. And I will definitely say that probably 20% of my game time, I'm stopping and taking pictures and composing, moving the camera. You can do so much in the modern games these days with the still photography. It's just great. And so this is something I compose with the depth of field effect. There's another depth of field effect. You see how what she's looking at is out of focus. And this is one of the many tombs you have to solve. And this is the path to a big city in the game, and she has to swing on a lot of those hanging things, and that was a really fun part. Another thing I like to spend time with photography is I like backlight, and backlight is the term where the sun is shining at the camera, so it's backlighting many objects and things that the camera sees. And this is a perfect example of that, how you've got backlight, and then the rays of sun are streaming in through openings, and I love photography like that. So a lot of times when I see something like that, I have to stop, take a picture. There's another puzzle section with a lot of lava. Another example of what I love is this sense of foreboding. For instance, this is a tomb Lara has to enter, and you can see the entrance, it's got this red smoke. Kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And I love stuff like that. It's like, what's in there? What traps are awaiting me and puzzles to solve? Lots of great architecture in the game. The game designers, they spend so much time researching, trying to make things authentic. And this game takes place in South America. Lara's swinging in to uncover another mystery in her adventure. The enemy she fights is called Trinity, and they're an organization out to not do good things. And so they represent kind of the antagonist side of the game. Took that right before I made a big dive into that lake. Again, everything you see here is in the middle of me playing the game. I just stop and take images. And so that image right there, I'm going to go there. And that's what I love. I come into this area and I see all these places, and I know I'm going to go there and explore what secrets await. I turn around and took a picture of Lara with her gun. It's another nice picture of Lara. She's just a great character to play. That was a great tomb, an old abandoned pirate ship deep in a dark cavern. What great lighting. One light source above, and you can barely make out the details, but it's enough to know that there is adventure and surprise awaiting you, and I eventually get on that ship and solve a puzzle. Great stuff right there. Great 3D modeling and architecture design. Caverns. What a great job just on Lara herself with her eyes. There's just huge detail. Do a lot of grappling, climbing rocks. Great fun. And I stopped and took that. That's where I use the depth of field effect to make the foreground blurrier, so your eye tends to go to the waterfalls. And there's Lara rappelling down and then back up and various to get out of that cavern. And that behind there is Lara's friend, one of her best friends who's been with her through all of the journey. And he is also a great character. Jonah is his name. I had to think about that for a second. There's another tomb, one of the many tombs. And a tomb just really is a term of a puzzle you need to solve. Sometimes they're underground, sometimes they're not. Great lighting in a cavern. And again, everywhere here I am traveling. That was a great tomb. You can see the rain. You gotta imagine the thunder, lightning, wind whipping. And up there's a big puzzle with all kinds of wind-based platforms that are swinging that you gotta make quick jumps on. Great stuff. This isn't going to show quite the sound design involved in the game that is stupendous. And that speaks to my inner Indiana Jones. That's a coffin to open up and find things inside, and to me that's just a very Indiana Jones looking image. That's a picture I snapped of Lara where I put the waterfall behind her out of focus. Another big tomb to explore, a big ancient ruin. You do a lot of rappelling down into various areas. Again, just a wonderful environment. The one thing this didn't have, I love snow, and it started out with a pretty cool snowy part, but South America, obviously you're not gonna get a lot of snow in South America. That's a good example of backlight right there, just how backlighting can make an image. And one of the things you do in the game is you can cover yourself in mud, which makes you more stealthy. But that's after I cover myself in mud and I'm ready to do some combat. And there I've uncovered a key to a secret box that's been locked. And that's another section that I gotta do a lot of climbing. Lots of stairs up and down, go down below, go up high. Big worlds, cities, lots of people to talk to, quests, side quests. It's got everything. I'd say it's not really an RPG though, because you can't go everywhere easily. There are lots of places that once you jump down, you're kind of stuck and you gotta keep going. So I wouldn't call this an RPG. It's kind of halfway. It's a little more what we call on rails. Great picture of Lara. And you wear different outfits in the game, and the outfits give you different perks. I liked certain outfits better than others, but I had to wear them because they would allow me extra experience or ways to do other things quicker. I prefer the outfits. I like what she's wearing there. To me, that's more of the exploration kind of outfit. And there she's talking on the radio to a bad guy. Give you a little hint there. And I really like this image I put together. This is a real good example of why I like backlighting. That's gas ejecting in flames from a pipe. But what I really like is how, if you see these places on her hair right here, that's called backlighting, where it's just lighting the back, and it's what we call in photography. It really makes the person pop in 3D when it's not really 3D. This is a 2D image. And so backlighting allows you to really bring out and make a sense of depth in an image, and I love that. It's one of my more favorite pictures I composed. And there's another place you got to infiltrate. This is definitely an action heavy, and that's heavy backlighting, and could barely bring out her facial features in that, but I spent some time crafting that one the best I could just because it's really cool. This was definitely a combat heavy spot. You can see I'm rappelling into a lot of stuff, and I had to quickly have my thumb on buttons just to pause action so I could take a picture. You can see right there's a helicopter shooting at me, bad guys shooting at me. If you like combat, it's got all the things you like. There's exploding barrels that you can blow up. All the combat elements you'd expect in a game. Definitely looting, you loot people, get supplies. There's crafting, minimal crafting, the kind of crafting that's fine with me. That's a real great image too. This is another example of the backlighting. You can just see, that's what we call it, where you get highlights on the back of someone's hair. That can be done with the sun or just other lights in general. Kind of a sad moment. She was very sad about something. I won't tell you what. And that's her and Jonah walking off to last part of the adventure, which I am currently at, and that's where I stopped. So if you like this type of tomb raiding adventuring, I encourage you to check out another 80s classic arcade game. I'll put a link right up there. It's called Venture. Let's go on a venture. And that is my example of what tomb raiding would have been like in the 80s before we had all these awesome fancy graphics. check that out, and I will see you there.